In the teachings of the Buddha, hardship is not seen as a punishment, nor as an obstacle meant to break us. Rather, it is a profound teacher that shapes our understanding, builds our inner strength, and awakens the wisdom hidden within us. Every moment of suffering carries a lesson if we pause, observe, and approach it with awareness instead of resistance. When life presents pain, loss, or failure, the Buddha reminds us to examine them without anger or fear, for these very experiences become the soil in which resilience and clarity can grow. Hardship shows us the impermanence of all things, teaching us to let go of attachments that imprison the mind and to embrace change as a natural rhythm of existence. Through struggle, we learn patience. Through disappointment, humility. Through uncertainty, faith in our own ability to move forward. Growth does not come from comfort, but from the willingness to look within and transform the raw experiences of life into wisdom. When we stop running from hardship and instead meet it with mindfulness, it loses its power to control us. It becomes a guide, pointing us toward inner discipline, compassion, and understanding. The Buddha teaches that suffering can purify the mind, much like fire strengthens metal. Each trial tests our character, but also reveals our hidden potential. What matters is not how heavy the hardship feels, but how consciously we walk through it. We must not hold on to the hurt, nor judge ourselves for falling. Instead, we must rise again with a clearer mind and a stronger heart. Every step forward, no matter how small, brings us closer to wisdom and peace. To grow means to allow ourselves to evolve beyond our past limitations, transforming pain into insight and challenges into opportunities. Hardship is not the end of the path, it is a doorway to a deeper understanding of who we are. The Buddhist message is simple yet powerful. Learn from every experience, grow from every struggle, and continue moving forward with calm determination. Life will not always be gentle, but it will always be meaningful if we choose to learn from what we face. When we walk the path with awareness, even the hardest moments become stepping stones toward enlightenment. So, let hardship teach you, let it refine you, and let it guide you toward a life of greater strength, clarity, and inner freedom. As we continue to reflect on the Buddha's wisdom, we begin to see that hardship, rather than being a force that destroys, is often the very fire that shapes our true form. When the Buddha spoke of suffering, he did not ask us to fear it or escape from it. He encouraged us to understand it, to observe it with a calm and open mind. Hardship becomes our teacher only when we stop fighting it and start listening to what it reveals. Every difficult experience shows us something about our own nature, our reactions, our fears, our attachments, our strengths. In moments of struggle, we discover how deeply we cling to expectations, how easily we become disturbed by what we cannot control. Hardship unravels these illusions and teaches us to stand more firmly in truth. It shows us that peace does not come from a life without challenges, but from a mind trained to remain steady in the middle of them. When life pushes us down, we can either break or bend. And the Buddha teaches us to bend, to adapt, to remain flexible so that the storms of life cannot uproot us. Hardship teaches us humility by reminding us that we are not the center of the universe, nor are we entitled to a life free of difficulty. It teaches us compassion, because once we experience pain ourselves, our hearts naturally soften toward the suffering of others. Struggle opens the door to empathy, helping us connect more deeply with those around us. Growth, then, is not only personal, but also spiritual, expanding our understanding of humanity itself. Every time we rise after falling, we become a little wiser, a little calmer, a little more aware of the impermanent nature of all things. The Buddha encourages us to look at each painful moment as an opportunity to practice patience, to strengthen discipline, to broaden perspective, and to cultivate gratitude for the simple blessings that we often overlook. Hardship teaches us that nothing is guaranteed, and that every peaceful moment is precious. Instead of allowing suffering to harden our hearts, we learn to let it soften us, refine us, and shape us into beings capable of greater love and deeper understanding. Moving forward does not mean forgetting the hardship. It means carrying the lessons with us as we step into a wiser version of ourselves. It means trusting that every experience, even the painful ones, is part of our spiritual evolution. When we choose to learn rather than resist, to grow rather than complain, we turn hardship into a guide that leads us closer to liberation. And as we continue to walk this path with awareness, we realize that every struggle has been preparing us for a future filled with more clarity, strength, and inner peace. In this way, hardship becomes not a burden, but a blessing that guides us forward.
As we walk further into the understanding of hardship as a guiding force, we begin to recognize that the Buddha's teachings are not simply words meant for contemplation. They are instructions for living with courage and inner clarity. Hardship becomes meaningful only when we allow it to transform us from within. Instead of running from discomfort, the Buddha invites us to sit with it, breathe through it, and observe the shifting sensations of the mind. This simple act of awareness turns pain into insight. When difficulties arise, they expose the parts of us that remain unexamined, the doubts we carry, the wounds we hide, the insecurities we have yet to heal. Hardship reveals these shadows not to weaken us, but to help us see what must be released so that we can move forward with greater lightness. In this process, we learn that suffering is temporary, like a passing cloud, and that peace is possible even in the midst of turbulence, when the mind remains centered. The Buddha's path teaches us that growth is not always loud or dramatic. Often it happens quietly, in the small decisions we make each day to remain patient, mindful, and compassionate toward ourselves. Hardship teaches us endurance, the ability to keep going even when the road feels long and uncertain. It teaches us faith in our own strength, reminding us that every challenge we have ever faced has prepared us for the next step of our journey. Through struggle, we discover our innate courage, the quiet yet powerful determination that rises whenever life tests our resolve. And as we learn to navigate hardship with awareness, we begin to see that nothing is wasted. Not a tear, not a failure, not a moment of doubt. Each experience adds depth to our character and clarity to our purpose. Hardship pushes us to examine our choices, refine our intentions, and align our actions with our true values. It encourages us to move away from blame and toward responsibility, from fear and toward understanding. Through this, the heart becomes stronger yet softer, capable of embracing both joy and sorrow with equal acceptance. To move forward means to trust the journey, even when we cannot see the final destination. It means believing in the possibility of change and allowing ourselves to evolve into beings of greater wisdom and compassion. The Buddha reminds us that the path to enlightenment is not free of obstacles. Instead, it is shaped by the obstacles themselves. Each hardship is a stepping stone, each challenge a doorway, each struggle a teacher waiting to reveal a deeper truth. When we accept this with an open heart, hardship loses its bitterness and becomes a source of inner liberation. We no longer move forward out of fear, but with purpose. We no longer carry our burdens alone, but with awareness. And in this way, every hardship becomes a chapter in the story of our awakening. As we dive even deeper into the Buddha's wisdom, we begin to understand that hardship is not merely something to endure, it is a profound mirror that reveals the truth of our inner world. When life becomes difficult, when the road seems heavy, and the heart feels tired, that is precisely when the teachings of the Buddha shine brightest. He reminds us that hardship strips away illusions, breaking down the walls we build around ourselves, and exposing the quiet, resilient strength that has always existed within. In these moments of discomfort, the mind learns to observe rather than react, to breathe rather than panic, to respond rather than resist. Hardship becomes a spiritual training ground, shaping us slowly and steadily. It teaches us that every storm will eventually pass, and what remains afterward is a version of ourselves that is wiser, calmer, and more deeply connected to life. Many people think the goal is to avoid pain, but the Buddha teaches that the true goal is to understand it. When we understand suffering, its nature, its source, its impermanence, it loses its power to control us. We stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and instead begin asking, "What is this teaching me?" That single shift in perspective opens the door to growth. Hardship teaches us that nothing is permanent, not joy, not sorrow, not success, not failure, and this awareness brings a quiet strength that nothing can shake. We start seeing challenges not as signs of weakness, but as invitations to rise higher. With each struggle, we learn the art of letting go of expectations, letting go of ego, letting go of the false belief that life must always align with our plans. Through hardship, we come to understand the beauty of surrender. Not the surrender of defeat, but the surrender of acceptance. Acceptance gives us the clarity to act wisely rather than out of fear. It allows us to move forward with courage, even when the path is uncertain. Hardship also deepens gratitude. When we walk through dark valleys, we learn to appreciate every moment of light. When we face loss, we learn the sacred importance of standing up again. The Buddha teaches that resilience is not the absence of pain, but the willingness to keep walking despite it. Every challenge becomes a lesson in persistence, every setback a reminder that growth is an unfolding process. And as we continue to move forward with mindfulness, we discover that hardship has been quietly shaping our character, carving strength into our spirit, and preparing us for greater peace. Step by step, hardship turns into wisdom. Suffering turns into insight, and life itself becomes a journey of awakening. Through this understanding, we learn that no matter how difficult the moment may feel, we possess everything we need to rise.
As we continue walking along this path of inner awakening, guided by the Buddha's timeless wisdom, we begin to realize that hardship is not an interruption in our journey, it is the journey. Every difficulty molds our understanding, every challenge expands our consciousness, and every moment of struggle adds new layers of depth to our character. The Buddha teaches that life's trials are like waves. They rise, they crash, and they disappear, but each wave shapes the shore of our inner landscape. When we face hardship with awareness, instead of drowning in the waves, we learn to ride them. The mind becomes less reactive and more observant, allowing us to see the event without being consumed by it. Through this mindful observation, we begin to distinguish between what is real and what is created by our fears. Often, the fear of suffering weighs more than the suffering itself. Hardship exposes these illusions and invites us to meet life with authenticity. With each challenge, we are reminded that humans grow from within, not from outside circumstances. Hardship encourages introspection, pushing us to examine the patterns, beliefs, and attachments that keep us stuck. It teaches us that true freedom is born in the mind, not in the absence of problems. And as we develop this inner freedom, hardship loses its ability to overwhelm us.
We begin to see obstacles as stepping stones placed on our path to elevate our understanding and to help us rise beyond our limitations. This transformation doesn't happen suddenly, it unfolds gradually through patience and mindful effort. The Buddha often spoke about the importance of perseverance, remaining steady, even when the journey feels slow or uncertain. Hardship teaches us this steadiness. It shows us that growth happens in silence, in persistence, in the small decisions we make every day to stay mindful, compassionate, and hopeful. When we fall, hardship encourages us to rise with a clearer understanding of who we are. When we feel lost, hardship reminds us that every path, no matter how dark, eventually leads to light if we keep walking. And in this process, something beautiful happens. We begin to trust ourselves. We begin to trust that we can endure, that we can transform, that we can rise again and again. The Buddha's path becomes not just a set of teachings, but a living experience within us. Hardship strengthens our spirit, expands our compassion, and deepens our connection to all beings. It teaches us that everyone suffers, and through this shared experience, we learn kindness and humility. Moving forward becomes not an escape from pain, but a journey toward wisdom. With each step, we carry the lessons of hardship like lanterns, illuminating the path ahead. And as these lanterns grow brighter, we discover that hardship was never our enemy. It was our greatest teacher, guiding us toward becoming the strongest, wisest, and most compassionate version of ourselves. In the end, as we gather all the lessons that hardship has patiently taught us, we come to understand a profound truth at the heart of the Buddha's wisdom. Every moment of suffering has been shaping us, preparing us, and guiding us toward a deeper awakening. Hardship was never meant to break us. It was meant to break open the layers of fear, ego, and illusion that kept us from seeing our true nature. Through every challenge, we have learned resilience. Through every sorrow, compassion. Through every fall, the courage to rise again. We now see that the path was never separate from the struggle. The struggle was the path. And as we emerge from this journey, we carry not the weight of what once hurt us, but the wisdom it left behind. The Buddha teaches that peace is not found by avoiding life, but by embracing it fully, with all its joys, uncertainties, and hardships. With each lesson absorbed, we step forward lighter, clearer, and more aware of the strength that has always lived within us. The storms that once frightened us have become reminders of our inner power, and the darkness we once feared has become a place where we learn to ignite our own light. Now, as this script reaches its end, our journey continues. With mindful steps and an awakened heart, we move forward, no longer driven by fear, but guided by wisdom. Hardship has done its sacred work. It has shaped us, strengthened us, and shown us that within every struggle lies the seed of transformation. And as we walk onward, we do so with gratitude, knowing that every moment, even the difficult ones, has led us closer to the peace, clarity, and freedom that the Buddha spoke of. This is our ending, and yet it is also a beginning, the beginning of a life lived with awareness, courage, and a deep understanding that no hardship is greater than the strength of the awakened soul.